Greetings, YouTube, and welcome to episode 215 of the 4,000 Question Challenge. Doo-doo-doo. How often do you think of sex or romance? I don't know. Every day, probably. I know I think about it every day. I don't know how often I think about it. I can get lost in thinking about an idea for a gaming concept for hours and hours at a time, or pulled into an internal philosophical discussion for, 2 or 3 hours at a stretch. So I don't know how often I think about it, but I know I think about it every day. So I don't know, every day, multiple times a day. How's that? That's a good one. Cover a lot of bases. What do you enjoy more, sex or money? Why is that the binary? If you've got money, you can buy sex. And if you can have sex, you can earn money. Or, you could like sex and money, or like money and not sex, or like sex and not money. There's a lot of complexities in here. My apologies. Yeah, I don't, that particular dichotomy is not one that I work with. So, yeah, no. How many different sexual partners have you had in your life? 13, which is the statistical average for America. People should not marry before what age? All right, it can be a little controversial. I think that most people should wait till they're about 25, because by then your brain has stopped developing. And then I think you're at a firm basis for really making those kind of lifelong decisions. I'm not saying you shouldn't have relationships. I'm not saying you shouldn't live with somebody. But wait until you're past college age at least, till you really decide, do I want to get married? Do I want to have kids? That kind of thing. Yeah, these kids and people are getting married and they're 18, right, or 17 years old. It baffles me, particularly when their families are pushing them towards it because they're socially conservative. That is not a healthy narrative. What are the characteristics of a good marriage? Like I said before, it's complex and it's different for every single person and every single couple. So you can't nail it down to a specific thing. But I will suggest love each other and use your words. What love relationships did you have in college? Never went to college. When you are in love, you need blank. Time with your partner. With your first love, who broke whose heart? Janet broke mine. I was not the man she needed in her life at that time. I eventually became that man, but I wasn't going to ask her to wait around until I eventually matured enough to be who she needed. She went off and found somebody else. They got married. She has a number of children, I believe. And so she's quite happy, as far as I know. So, yeah. No. She was fully he had every right to decide to walk away from me. I wasn't who she needed at that time. Who is smarter, you or your significant other? What is this, a Mensa test? I'm smart about some things and my wife is smart about others. I'm constantly asking her questions because I know she'll probably have the answer, or at least point me in the right directions. She asks me questions because she knows that I'm probably going to have the answer, or I can point her in the direction of where to look. This isn't an either or, where people are much more complex than that. I've often joked that everyone is equally ignorant. We know as much and as little as everybody else. It's just different things. Last question for the day, for this one. What does a woman or man need most from a husband or wife? Love and affection? I'm gonna go out on a limb on that one and say love and affection. That's what they need most, right there. I know it's controversial. I know it's probably radical. It may become as a shocking surprise to some people to hear that. But yeah, I think love and affection. All righty. Thank you for being here for episode 215 of the 4,000 Question Challenge. I hope you will be here for episode 216.